The script follows several chaotic and hilarious storylines involving the employees of Dunder Mifflin. As usual, Michael Scott's behavior creates most of the problems, while Dwight takes every situation far too seriously. The story begins with Dwight investigating suspected drug use at the office. After hearing that someone was smoking marijuana in the parking lot, Dwight starts questioning employees and treating the situation like a major criminal investigation. Michael initially makes fun of Dwight, but then becomes extremely serious about the company's anti-drug policy. He gives everyone a dramatic speech about the dangers of drugs and tries to prove that he is completely anti-drug. His presentation quickly becomes ridiculous because he doesn't even understand some of the things on his own list of illegal drugs. Michael then prepares to attend an important company party with Jan. He sees the event as a major step in their relationship because they are attending as a couple for the first time. At the party, however, Michael becomes uncomfortable and behaves awkwardly. Jan also acts strangely, creating tension between them. Michael tries to impress the other executives, but ends up embarrassing himself instead. The office also deals with various everyday problems. Jim and Karen have their own plans, while other employees are dragged into Michael's strange ideas. Michael constantly interrupts conversations, tries to control the entertainment, and attempts to make himself the center of attention. His obsession with the TV, music, food, and party activities eventually annoys almost everyone. Another storyline focuses on New Year's resolutions. Michael asks everyone to share their goals and then becomes frustrated when employees admit that they are struggling to keep them. He becomes especially determined to make Kevin eat vegetables and pushes Creed to complete his goal of doing a cartwheel. Michael takes the whole thing way too seriously, but eventually Creed manages to do the cartwheel, giving everyone a small victory to celebrate. Michael also experiences relationship drama when Jan returns and tells him that she wants to get back together. Michael knows that their previous relationship was terrible and initially asks his coworkers for advice. Jim and the others encourage him not to return to the relationship. However, when Michael talks to Jan, he changes his mind. Jan has made some major changes, including getting cosmetic surgery, and Michael is immediately distracted by her appearance. Despite all the warnings from his friends, Michael decides to get back together with her. Another major storyline involves a charity 5K race for rabies awareness. Michael becomes extremely passionate about the cause and gives everyone a dramatic speech about how dangerous rabies is. He eventually joins the race, but struggles because of his poor preparation. He eats too much food, drinks too little water, and becomes exhausted. Michael eventually finishes the race and treats it as one of the greatest achievements of his life. He proudly describes it as a triumph of the human body. Dwight also has an important moment when he receives an award for being the Dunder Mifflin Salesman of the Year. When Dwight doesn't immediately come forward to accept the award, Michael decides to take over the situation. He gives a bizarre motivational speech about salesmen, history, war, and revolution. Surprisingly, his ridiculous speech becomes very entertaining, and the crowd eventually responds positively. Later, Michael becomes worried that the Scranton branch might be closing. He refuses to accept the possibility and creates a plan to save everyone's jobs. He and Dwight prepare to confront David Wallace, imagining that they can convince him not to shut down the branch. Michael even compares himself to a documentary filmmaker investigating corporate wrongdoing. However, the plan falls apart, and Michael becomes extremely depressed because he believes he has failed everyone. Then they receive unexpected news. Scranton is not closing. Another branch is being shut down instead. Michael and Dwight celebrate wildly, and Michael feels like he has saved the entire office, even though he had little to do with the actual decision. There is also a storyline involving Dwight investigating Oscar after Oscar calls in sick. Dwight becomes suspicious because he thinks Oscar may actually be out shopping instead of being sick. He investigates Oscar's situation and eventually discovers that Oscar really was lying. Instead of immediately reporting him, Dwight decides to keep the information as leverage, meaning he can use it against Oscar later. The script also contains several smaller comedic stories. The employees receive unusual Christmas gifts. Jim and Dwight continue their childish rivalry with increasingly ridiculous snowball attacks, and Michael's attempts to organize. Finally, the script includes Michael's disastrous dinner party with Jan. Michael invites several co-workers to his home, hoping to impress them. Jan's behavior becomes increasingly uncomfortable, and tension develops between her and Michael. She argues with him, criticizes his friends, and creates an embarrassing atmosphere. During the evening, Jan also becomes jealous and insecure about Michael's coworkers and relationships. The situation eventually becomes completely chaotic, ending with Jan accidentally destroying Michael's expensive plasma TV. The script shows the absurd, unpredictable workplace life of Dunder Mifflin. Michael Scott constantly tries to be a great boss, friend, partner, and leader, but his poor judgment usually makes things worse. Dwight takes his responsibilities far too seriously, while Jim, Pam, Kevin, Oscar, Creed, and the other employees react to Michael's behavior in their own unique ways. The main themes are workplace friendship, relationships, office politics, personal goals, jealousy, and the importance of accepting that not everything can be controlled. The comedy comes from the characters' exaggerated personalities, awkward conversations, misunderstandings, and Michael's endless attempts to turn ordinary situations into something much more dramatic.